All right. As always, thank you again for tuning in for another episode of Tombstone Tea, where we try to give you some history. Today, we are back at Burr Oaks and we are visiting the graves of Reverend Clay Evans, Inman Jackson, Wendell Green, who was the first black judge in Illinois, Annie Turnbow Malone, and Ezard Mack Charles. So thank you again for another viewing. And here we are at the entrance of Burr Oak Cemetery. This has been a awesome time at Burr Oak. The ground staff and the people in the office are absolutely wonderful. So definitely, if you haven't checked out the first video that we did on Mamie and Emmett Till, Carl Hansberry, and Dinah Washington, check that one out. The first grave that we are actually going to check out today is the grave of legendary gospel pastor and singer Reverend Clay Evans. Now, Reverend Clay Evans was born in 1925 in Brownsville, Tennessee. He went to seminary school here in Chicago and founded Fellowship Missionary Baptist Church on the south side of Chicago in 1950. He was a civil rights activist. He co-founded Operation Push and actually served on its board of directors. He was a radio and TV broadcast pioneer with his church, and he also was a gospel recording artist, recording over 35 albums, 11 of them charting on the Billboard gospel charts. He married his longtime love, Luther May, and had 5 kids, and he passed away in 2019 at the age of 94.
This is the first time that I am actually seeing a niche for cremated remains. That's my first time seeing that ever. But that's not why we are here today. I actually just found the grave, and it was actually pretty easy to find. And this one is a grave that is an important person in history, and it is the grave of Annie Malone.
Annie Minerva Turnbow Malone was born in 1877 and was the child of former slaves. She studied chemistry in Peoria after her parents died at an early age. She moved to Peoria with her sister and started doing hair. She had to drop out of school while she was studying chemistry because she was very sickly when she was younger. But because of her love for chemistry, she actually started to develop her own hair care products. She included hair straighteners, oils, and a hair grow formula that was called the Wonderful Hair Grower that she sold door to door. She eventually moved to St. Louis and opened up her first store, employing hundreds and thousands of black women selling door to door, and they became business owners and cosmetologists. She opened the Poro College in 1918, and it included a manufacturing plant, a 500-seat auditorium, a dorm, a gym, a cosmetic school. It employed over 75,000 women in the United States. And she moved to Chicago after her divorce. She donated millions of dollars to charities and to Howard College of Medicine and local YMCAs. And she also served as a benefactor and president of the board of directors for the St. Louis Orphans Home from 1919 to 1943. Annie died May 10th, which is my birthday, of 1957, and here she rests, one of the first black millionaires. Now, the next grave that we are going to visit is the grave of Inman Big Jack Jackson, who was a Harlem Globetrotter. He was born here in Chicago in 1907, and he played in high school and joined the Chicago Giles American League Post. And then he also joined the Globetrotters after participating in the Savoy Big Five, which was a predecessor of the Globetrotters. He played with the Globetrotters from 1930 until 1945, and he also stayed on staff until his death. He retired from playing in 1945. He was inducted into the Naismith Hall of Fame in 2022, and he was actually listed or named as the best Globetrotter that ever lived. There are a lot of famous people here at Burr Oak Cemetery, so I definitely say come out and check out the cemetery and check out all of the famous people. The next grave that we are going to see is the grave of Ezzard Charles, who was the world heavyweight boxing champion from 1949 to 1951. He was also named the greatest light heavyweight champion of all time. His final record was 95, 25, and 1, and he also was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 1990. He was nicknamed the Cincinnati Cobra, and he also fought Joe Louis and won in 1950, and he died from ALS in 1975. Last but not least on our tour today at Burr Oak, I found the grave of Judge Wendell E. Green, which was very surprising because he's right in front of Inman Jackson, and I wasn't looking for him, and I didn't even know he was buried here at Burr Oak. I'm excited because my daughter actually went to Wendell E. Green School on the South Side, so this was actually a nice little perk because I already knew about Judge Wendell E. Green. He was born in Topeka, Kansas in 1887, and he actually graduated from the University of Kansas with a degree in chemistry. He moved to Chicago to study law, and he was licensed in 1920. In 1925, he helped to form the National Bar Association, becoming the first secretary, and he also served as the president of the Board of Trustees for the Provident Hospital that Daniel Hale Williams founded. 1942, he's the first African-American judge elected to the Cook County Municipal Court, and in 1950, he was the first African-American judge elected to the Circuit Court. And in 1959, he died after a brief illness. Now, I hope that you all enjoyed today's episode of Tombstone Tea. We have another episode dropping where we will be visiting more famous graves here at Burr Oak. So make sure that you click the notifications to be notified on our new videos. And as always, we'll see you next time on Tombstone Tea.